This week on C Plus News Time, did you guys catch that load of crap that was the summer box office? Besides The Big Sick and Logan Lucky, original ideas were down, franchises were up, and nobody wanted to have any of it. But Hollywood wants to reassure the rest of us moviegoers that everything's fine. It's totally fine. It's super fine. It's not fine. Movies are doomed. Netflix wants to make all the things we love mediocre. But I love streaming. It's giving people who would have never had a chance to shoot their shot a chance to shoot it. Except me, and maybe you, I guess. And that's how all sides of the argument sound. Get ready, more hot improv like that is coming right at you. Let's all not go to movies, only on news time. Somebody call UCB in Chicago's I.O. because I was pretty good.
It's C Plus News Time. Delivering to you the news you didn't know about, the news you didn't care about, and the news you didn't know you cared about. With host, Chad White. Now, here's that host, Chad White.
I wrote you a poem. Water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. My favorite 90s movie is John Turturro and Barton Fink. Mary, please marry me. Welcome back to C Plus News Time. I'm your host, Chad White. This is the comedy news you didn't know about for the week of September 4th, 2017. Summertime is my favorite time of the year. It's a period of 3 months when Hollywood's least bashful movies lead the charge for the most coveted subpar tier award of Best Summer Movie. Whether you're a Marvel flick that for some reason will not mention the Marvel TV shows in the same breath, even though they're in the same universe, or a third reboot, or an adaptation, or a children's movie with adult humor so parents can have fun too, and I think I forgot my point. What I think I was getting at is, what a time to be alive. Listen to me, Gab. Who am I, the timekeeper? Let's face facts. This year's summer box office was full of hot garbage. Sure, every so often we were graced with true gems like Girls Trip and Dunkirk, but for every one of those, there was a Transformer or a Despicable Me. What kind of antics did Gru and them humanoid bananas get into? Something about a brother? Let me guess. There was a fart joke too. For 2 years at a time, production companies will put hundreds of millions of dollars into a franchisable movie that will surely make them their money back. Why? So they can supposedly continue to invest in these smaller flicks that only play for niche markets. This is where you get your Baby Driver type movies. But those examples have started trending towards the likes of Amazon, Netflix, and Hulu, so it doesn't make sense for big companies to continue investing, or pretending to do so, in these smaller films. What the studios didn't account for was the so-called franchise fatigue audiences begin to feel. Having to know the background of a set of characters who have been playing out in these mundane movies for almost a decade is grating. And it proved extremely taxing this year according to the 2017 summer box office final numbers that came in over Labor Day weekend last week. Here are the facts. Summer 2017 was the worst box office in the past decade, hitting a 25-year low. Ticket totals reached $3.8 billion, marking the first time since 2006 it didn't reach at least $4 billion. It's only a 14.6% drop from last year, but a big drop nonetheless. A reported 403 million people went to the movies this summer. The main culprits are those aforementioned big-budget flopping films. They're the sequels that didn't do so good. Overall, 2017 is 6.5% behind 2016's total box office. And Hollywood's plan? It hopes that fall and winter movies, which are usually filled with award season aspirants, to turn the tide. The new It movie wants to be the new It movie. A Star Wars, Justice League, and Blade Runner are all vying for your dollars. The only problem is these big moneymakers are what? Franchises. Now, like those numbers, I have a few more for you. All 46 of the movies in the theaters over this past Labor Day weekend raked in a domestic box office of $95.5 million, which is a $33 million drop from 2016 and the worst since 1999. If the top 20 grossing movies of the summer, only 16 of them were rated fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, while a handful of them are rated certified fresh. This concludes reviews, of course, play a pivotal role in the human's choice process of seeing movies in theaters. If a film doesn't do well with the critics, audiences see no reason to see the movies themselves. So far, we can blame reviews and franchises for a lack of attendance at the movies, but more on reviews later. For now, let's get back to the novel movies that weren't based on novels, shows, or previously established properties. If original ideas can't drag people out of their living rooms, what will? Last year, Hollywood was in the same position. They needed to figure out a way to get your stinky seat into their sticky seats. Last summer, the BFG, Warcraft, and Legend of Tarzan all failed to do just that. The connection between them, as well as other tentpole movies that summer, each had a budget of over $130 million. Their failures cost studios tens of millions of dollars. But how was Hollywood going to face an attendance issue in only 12 months? The movies coming out this year were already well into development. Remember, Hollywood plans these movies years in advance. There's no telling how well a new or established franchise will do several years down the line. In a 2016 article, Variety writers Brent Lang and James Rainey shared several theories on why blockbusters were struggling. Problems include fewer ticket sales per person, income inequality between Disney and other studios, and aging movie stars who just can't sell movies anymore, and their contemporaries living on an A-list that's nowhere near as robust as it was decades ago. No one answer is completely true or false. They all contributed, or rather didn't contribute, to the issues we have now. So we have the numbers. We have a multitude of reasons why movies weren't so good. Let's get into the minutia of the whole pot. Who or exactly what does Hollywood put the blame on? Viewers like you? No. High ticket prices in the major cities? No, it's not that. Rotten Tomatoes? No. Yeah, wait. What the duck? Yes, according to the New York Times writer Brooke Barnes, executives blame RT for poor showings. Note that the website managed to get 13.6 million viewers in May alone. Barnes writes about how executives lodged several complaints with the service, including who is defined as a critic, how the tomato meter dumbs down criticism, and how said meter is then spread across the web. You know, like a thing on the internet should be doing. Look at some examples she provides. And keep in mind, Rotten Tomatoes is an aggregator, so reviews should be looked at as a whole as well as singular. Baywatch was supposed to be one of the biggest hits of the summer. It has everything a blockbuster needs. A cast that makes me question my sexuality and loud noises on the beach. But its tomato meter was a meager 19%, with only 36 of the 191 reviews positive. Now let's look at Guy Ritchie's King Arthur. Again, it's the same thing. Hot cast that maybe makes me think I'm gay, and loud noises but in medieval times. And again, this one fell, garnering a 28% positivity rate. Worst of all, losing the box office by only making back 39 million of its 175. Once more, let's take a step back. Way back in May, the LA Times writer Ryan Fonder predicted the terrible summer box office down to the $4 billion gross. And that was days prior to the Guardian sequel, which was way overhyped in my opinion. Okay, we've talked about what Hollywood is doing wrong, too many sequels, how much they lost because of their linear sequelized thinking, a couple billion give or take, and who they blame for the lost money, a website aggregator. What the big H should take away from this experience is their way isn't always going to be the best way. Streaming services are their biggest threat right now because of the ease in which movies can be sent into homes. Big budgets and big names aren't always going to attract the demographic they're looking for. Sometimes it takes a subtler approach. And critics do matter. Marvel and Warner and Paramount and the rest have become formulaic. Add some spice to the recipe and you'll have a better dish to serve. And that's all the news I have for you for this week on C Plus News Time. Why don't you subscribe and check out one of our other videos? Of course, you can head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where there's so much to watch and do that you're going to say, hey, this is great. You can also follow us on Twitter at cpluscomedy. Follow me on Twitter at ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook, listen to the Constitutionals podcast, and be sure to always read the reviews to movies, because sometimes you hate the things you love, and that's what I say about my wife.